I've been saying it for a while.
Yes, you have.
I've been saying that I think Elon Musk believes he's president. I do.
Well, you've been calling him vice president.
I've called him vice president. I called him president because I don't know what JD is doing. I hardly ever. I don't remember the last time we even talked about JD.
You're right. He's planning the presidency when they get rid of Trump.
Hey, you know who? Stay away from the stairways. Because, people put the leg out to trip you going down the stairs.
Elon Musk has launched an $80 million defamation lawsuit against Whoopi Goldberg and the hosts of The View, alleging intentional misinformation and damage to his reputation. The case stems from remarks made by Goldberg, where she insinuated that Musk and JD Vance were scheming to take over government operations if Donald Trump were removed from office. Musk's legal action has sparked significant discussions about media accountability, freedom of speech, and ethical standards in journalism. Joe Rogan, a prominent voice in media critique, has added fuel to the fire with his sharp analysis of the controversy. Speaking on his widely followed podcast, Rogan criticized what he described as the hypocrisy of mainstream media, including The View.
You got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you.
Donald Trump is a billionaire, a real estate mogul, and a television star. But does he really want to add president of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to. Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump. We're so happy to have you. Whenever you're on with us.
He pointed out how the show once praised Trump, only to vilify him once his political trajectory became polarizing. This inconsistency, Rogan argued, exemplifies a broader issue of shifting media narratives driven by political convenience rather than fairness or accuracy. Musk's lawsuit highlights concerns over defamation and slander, specifically targeting Goldberg's statements as lacking factual basis and being intentionally harmful. According to Musk's legal team, these remarks were not only unfounded, but also made with the intent to tarnish his reputation. The lawsuit also questions the broader role of talk shows, like The View, in promoting sensationalism over objective reporting. Musk's team believes the case could serve as a wake-up call for media outlets to prioritize facts over agendas. Rogan's commentary supports Musk's claims, pointing out how mainstream media often exploits narratives to serve political or personal biases. He suggested that Musk's lawsuit could establish a much-needed precedent for holding influential media figures accountable for misinformation. In defending herself, Goldberg claimed that her comments were misunderstood.
Okay, I need to clean something up because my cat lays in wait for me on my stairs all the time. And that's what I was thinking of that. I wasn't trying to indicate that they were actually standing there with their legs out, hoping he would trip.
No, nobody wants anything done to the president.
It was lighthearted, and it's the holidays. Come on. My God.
And were meant as a joke about her cat. However, critics have dismissed this explanation as an attempt to deflect responsibility, with some labeling it as a weak and implausible excuse. Goldberg's defense has only added to the drama, with many seeing her sudden clarification as evidence of guilt. The public response has been intense, with social media platforms buzzing with hashtags like #SupportElon and #CancelTheView. Supporters of Musk argue that this lawsuit is a critical stand against the unchecked spread of misinformation, while critics worry that it could set a dangerous precedent, potentially stifling freedom of speech. Joe Rogan has played a pivotal role in amplifying the public discourse around the lawsuit.
I mean, in fairness, though, I mean, The View has to be, if you average out The View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Known for his unapologetic critique of media practices, Rogan has used his platform to expose what he perceives as the hypocrisy of shows like The View. Drawing on past episodes, Rogan highlighted how The View warmly embraced Trump during his pre-presidency years, celebrating his achievements as a businessman and television personality. However, once Trump entered the political arena, their narrative shifted dramatically, portraying him as a divisive and dangerous figure.
And so they equate Donald Trump with Hitler and go, here you go, this is our modern Hitler.
Rogan framed this shift as a calculated move designed to align with prevailing political sentiments rather than reflecting a genuine commitment to fairness or consistency. At the heart of Musk's lawsuit is a call for higher standards in media practices. His legal team contends that the accusations made by Goldberg and her co-hosts were not only false, but also recklessly irresponsible, contributing to public distrust in the media. Rogan echoed these concerns, emphasizing that sensationalism and bias in media reporting have led to a cultural divide where audiences struggle to distinguish fact from propaganda. He criticized The View for its apparent prioritization of controversy and ratings over integrity and balance. One of the most contentious elements of Musk's case is the claim that Goldberg's remarks incited violence. During an episode of The View, Goldberg allegedly joked about someone tripping Trump, a comment Musk's legal team has argued could be interpreted as encouraging harm. Goldberg later attempted to dismiss the remark as a lighthearted comment about her cat, but this defense has drawn widespread skepticism. Rogan weighed in on the issue, warning about the dangers of normalizing violent rhetoric under the guise of humor. He argued that talk shows have a significant influence on public opinion and must be held to higher standards of accountability. Musk's lawsuit has sparked a broader debate about the state of journalism.
I'm really interested in this idea that Elon Musk is not just content to try and do something in the United States, but he really wants to push back against woke right around the Western world.
Absolutely. I mean, he's kind of a contradiction. He's got his electric vehicles, but then he's, got his platform X, and then his friend, he's got that new role with Donald Trump's administration. He's aligning himself with conservatives. There's a lot of people on the left incredibly unhappy with Elon Musk, that's for sure.
Was the episode of you when you were on The View, and I think it was 2015 or 2006, like when you were running for president. Right. They were talking about you in such a favorable light.
And the need for transparency and fairness in media coverage. Supporters of Musk see him as a champion of media reform, advocating for accountability and accuracy in reporting. On the other hand, critics argue that Musk's wealth and influence could be used to silence dissenting voices, potentially stifling free speech. Rogan, however, dismissed this notion, framing Musk's actions as a response to a deeper cultural demand for reform in media practices. Goldberg's emotional responses and shifting explanations have further fueled public scrutiny of The View, with many questioning the credibility of the show. Critics have accused the program of promoting biased narratives designed to align with political trends rather than providing balanced perspectives. Rogan has been particularly vocal about this issue, accusing mainstream media of selective outrage and hypocrisy. He pointed to earlier episodes where The View celebrated Trump's successes, contrasting sharply with their later portrayal of him as a threat to democracy. This lawsuit is about more than Musk's personal grievances. It represents a broader call for reform in the media industry. By pursuing legal action, Musk is challenging the status quo, pushing for clearer boundaries in media discourse and greater accountability for public figures. Rogan's commentary has reinforced this message, emphasizing the need for alternative platforms to challenge traditional media narratives. In recent years, several high-profile defamation lawsuits against the media have underscored the growing tension between public figures and news organizations over misinformation and bias. One notable case was the lawsuit filed by Nick Sandmann, a high school student, against major news outlets like The Washington Post and CNN. Sandmann alleged that media coverage of his encounter with a Native American activist at the Lincoln Memorial misrepresented him and caused significant reputational harm. The case resulted in confidential settlements, highlighting the potential consequences of rushed reporting. Similarly, Dominion Voting Systems launched a landmark $1.6 billion lawsuit against Fox News, accusing the network of spreading false claims about election fraud during the 2020 presidential race. The case, which culminated in a $787.5 million settlement, became a critical example of the legal repercussions for media organizations perpetuating unfounded conspiracy theories.
Nick Sandmann, the kid who was slandered by CNN and other media companies and sued them and forced them to settle the lawsuits.
My name is Nick Sandmann, and I'm the teenager who was defamed by the media after an encounter with a group of protesters on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial last year.
These lawsuits, alongside Elon Musk's current legal battle, reflect a broader trend of individuals and companies seeking accountability for the perceived weaponization of media narratives, raising questions about the balance between free speech and responsible journalism. Whether Musk's lawsuit succeeds or not, it has already sparked a cultural reckoning with media practices, bias, and responsibility. The case underscores the growing dissatisfaction with mainstream journalism and the increasing demand for fairness, accuracy, and transparency. As the legal battle unfolds, it will likely continue to serve as a focal point for discussions about free speech, media ethics, and the evolving role of journalism in a polarized world.